Hey there guys, this is Robin Hood, and today I'm going to be bringing you all a 1 versus 1 replay in Napoleon Total War. As you guys can see here, this is the only replay I actually have. I have not played Napoleon in quite a while, and I played this battle about a week ago. First time I jumped on, and as is normal, whenever I take a break from Napoleon and I come back, I host a battle on the Galician Ria map, because I believe that this map is an excellent map. There is the one large hill here, which is slightly closer to my deployment. Actually, you can kind of tell it's right there on the map. A little bit closer to my deployment than the opponent's deployment, but it's not dead center of the field either. You kind of have to turn over to get to it. And I have seen games where someone secures that hill and sits on it, but you know, there's ways to attack it. And since it is centrally located in the map, you can kind of wrap around and stuff. But either way, I love this map because of the variation in terrain. I don't like a stale, flat map. If my opponent has a hill, I find it just slightly more interesting to play and try to attack that position. But anyways, for this battle, I'll be playing as Great Britain. I've got 2 King's German Legion Lightfoot and then 3 Lightfoot units as my skirmishing contingent. And then I have 5 units of foot for my main infantry line, and 2 foot guards. And then here we go, my 1 unit of 42nd Foot, the Black Watch there. I love the uniforms of those men. And then I have 1 unit of Fencibles here. These guys are just kind of, I brought them initially as a meat shield, but I'm not actually going to end up using them that way. Don't believe I put any cavalry down there. But I've just got a standard general staff, and Dragoon Guards, 15th Hussars, and a Life Guards for my cavalry. So we're going to go ahead and speed this battle up here, fighting in the rain, as is classic in Napoleon. You tell the weather to be dry, and this game glitched and put you in the rain a large amount of the time, actually. I was about to say all the time, but not quite, but there is definitely a glitch where it decides that dry weather includes heavy downpours. And I don't know, maybe the definition has changed, but yeah, that was never resolved before they moved on to the newer games. Doesn't really affect the battle that much, though. It makes your troops slightly less accurate because of wet powder. But anyways, a quick look at things. You can see I'm moving here, and the first thing you might ask is, why on earth, Robin, are you moving down below a hill? Like, there's a nice large hill right here. Why did I move below it? One, I was hoping that my opponent deployed more in the center of his deployment zone, which is right about where I'm looking. He deployed up in the corner, which is perfect for taking that hill, and that's not unexpected, but I wanted to kind of avoid a fight on the hill. So I'm sending the majority of my army down this way, and sending my reserve section, including these Fencibles, up over here. So if I have to storm this hill quickly, I can. I've got my cavalry sitting there as well, but I'm going to try to put the engagement down in this section of the field. Everything's kind of even here. There's still some variation in terrain, and my opponent actually will have the high ground, but I wanted a little bit more of a challenge if he takes the hill here. So he's playing as the Ottomans. In the trees here you can see some of those Kamat Janissaries or Janissaries there. These guys have got 2 chevrons, and if these men get into my lines successfully, they can cause a lot of damage very quickly. So this type of unit, it's either very powerful or very weak. If you stop it from getting to your lines, it's almost a complete waste of funds bringing this unit. But this type of unit can wreck a guard unit in melee combat if they get a nice charge. And then he has a ton of these Nizam credit infantry. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The whole time I've played Napoleon, I never quite learned how to pronounce that, but he's got 4 of these guys here, and another 4 up on this ridge here. I don't believe he brought any rifles. He's got some cavalry, Safai cavalry there, 2 of them, and a mounted cadet, or yeah, however you say that. If someone knows how to pronounce the names of these units, please show me how in the comments, because that might prove helpful for later videos. That is one of the struggles with Total War games, is learning how to pronounce all these different factions things. But you can see here, I'm shuffling up my men onto the flank to fight these infantry. He sees this and he's going to pull back. He does not want to go toe-to-toe with my Black Watch and foot guards immediately. That's why I had these guys dealing with the hill. And then over this way, I'm pushing forward a little bit to start skirmishing. You can see my opponent is lining up through the trees back here. But anyways, we're going to try to get this battle going a little bit faster. So my opponent's kind of forming a big arc around me. On this minimap, you can see he is the blue. I'm going to hit play here. So he's got a nice arc around me, but you can also see his units are far more spread apart than mine. I'm significantly more condensed. So what I'm going to do when I see him really pushing this flank and not my center, I'm going to withdraw all of these units. I'm putting my foot into line back here, 2 of my skirmisher units up front, and then this light foot I actually left here. Now these guys are going to get some kills, but for the most part, as you can see, they are just going to quickly get lit up, and watching them drop down there. They are getting some kills on this unit though, some very accurate fire. That's what they're good at. But these guys are going to hold long enough to allow my men to comfortably get set up here, and I'm going to be in the trees, so he's going to have to push in towards my troops here and once again take a volley as he moves up. That's the end of my light foot. So again, my opponent's going to push forward here, and as he's pushing forward, my King's German Legion foot are going to start taking fire. Now my original plan in this battle was to engage my opponent over here. Once he deployed this way, I was trying to set up so that I could push this direction, but the arc that he set up made my fight have to be a defensive one. I could not, unless I spread my lines out, effectively attack my opponent, and he has significantly more line infantry than I do. I do have the rifles though, which is an advantage. So you can see this combat going on here. But yeah, attacking his superior numbers is going to be a challenge. Here I'm getting some decent fire on some of these units. And I believe somewhere in here you hear a cav charge going on. Yeah, I was running one of my Hussar units towards these guys. I'm not actually going to engage because he puts his men into square. That is helping me though, because you can see he has so many more troops here that he's overlapping my flank, and I have to hold these units up this way to fend off his other units. So I brought my cavalry over. What I'm going to do, my opponent is now sending in those swordsmen. These guys are an issue. You can see them charging through the trees. So I am going to bring one of my cavalry units back down into this fight, and cavalry will wreck these guys in combat. So there they go on the charge, coming towards my foot, and here comes my cavalry, and they're going to engage these guys and make decently short work of them, and I am going to get my foot out of there, moving them up to slightly higher ground there. So my cavalry is going to handle that battle. Meanwhile, you can see the smoke gathering. The combined fire of my foot units and these skirmishers that I have is going to make decently short work of these Ottoman units. So at this point, I've started to blow out his center here. I performed a cav charge down the middle to rout another unit. He's still sitting in square over here. His swordsmen are now gone. And so now I have a little bit of room to maneuver here, and I'm going to start trying to turn these flanks. An engagement has opened up over more towards this side as well. You can see up in the trees here I am bringing a light foot and my foot guard unit, and these guys are going to have an incredible line of sight right down the flank of that unit there. And look at that. There goes the fire from my men. We're going to start taking them down. So some of my opponent's units coming back from routing, he's going to try to plug these gaps. And then I did not notice this. You see all these guys up here that I was originally fending off? Hidden in the trees back here, he had 4 more units of infantry, bringing his total up to 12 units of Nizam Sedit infantry. Again, if you guys know how to pronounce that properly, I'm sure I'm butchering it, so please let me know in the comments. But these guys moving forward in a blocky formation here, crossing this road, and they're going to start heading over this ridge. And you can see my men back that way. And of course my cavalry unit there. I see these guys coming in, so I'm going to kind of move away. At this point I have fended off his first attack though. This unit of infantry is still over here, although coming out of square their formation is a little bit messed up, so I'm going to be getting flanking shots on them. And some of these guys dropping to my men shooting through the trees here. Bringing my cavalry back behind my lines. Meanwhile, my opponent's going to start moving his cavalry back around behind me, and he actually has another unit of cavalry over this way that came out of hiding, and these guys ran up. I did not notice them. They fired a volley into my cavalry here, and that is the end of my hussar unit, or my dragoon guards actually, so even better blow for my opponent. And he is now bringing fresh units into this fight. You can see I rearranged this foot unit to get flanking fire on the men in the trees, which he is going to smartly pull back for the moment, and now my men's flanks are exposed, so I have to withdraw once again. Him pushing on that flank there is giving me more problems, so I am again going to pull back my entire line to try to reestablish a front that I can actually work with, because even though my men won that first battle, they are now slightly depleted, and I don't really have reserves I can send them over here. My fencibles and stuff are going to be needed in the fight against this cavalry. And here, these lifeguards. I wish I had noticed this sooner. I could have gotten a really good charge on these mounted units here and not had to deal with what happened. But at this point, I notice them. They're going to get a really good volley into my 15th Hussars. So my men are going to charge down and watch this. Half that regiment just gone, but a full charge from lifeguards in the back, and this unit of mounted rifles is just going to get absolutely cut down. And that is the end of that threat for me. And over here, again, I had to push down on this flank to try to wrap around the one flank that I could successfully. And he is going to push in his unit. You know, him having me in this arc means every time I turn one of his flanks, he can turn one of mine. So now at this point, these men that are moving to shuffle and fight this infantry unit are going to be exposed over here. But in the main line for the moment, it's just going to be my light foot firing, and now I am going to move up my main infantry, since I've got some skirmishing fire, and start firing down into these men. And I do have the slightly better position here, so you can see my men firing the Ottomans in the woods there. Meanwhile, this cavalry engagement's getting a little bit iffy. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do about this. My opponent has way more cavalry than me, so I'm trying to defend the back, because if he forces my men to turn into square here, his men will have way more fire coming in than I can put out, and with cavalry behind me, he might actually be able to win this flank. So I need this to hold long enough for my men to outshoot him, because my British troops should win, especially with the better position. But he's also starting to get some troops up here, and he still has these mounted rifles. So things for me on this flank are looking a little bit iffy. If you look at this, you can see I'm almost completely surrounded here. Of course, over in this direction, he does not have that many units, so I'm not really paying that much attention to it. And over here, I am shuffling my Black Watch in behind. Here comes a charge to the rear, and I believe he hits me. But I actually did get off the order for square. Still, that's going to result, you can see these men are now can't really return fire, and they're going to get shot up. So once again, I had to withdraw my line to try to unencircle myself here. And this way my Black Watch can more successfully cover my flank. And in the trees here, I still have all these fresh foot guard units. And these fencibles coming over. Any bit of firepower helps. And these Ottoman units are definitely very depleted. I'm pretty sure these guys here were out of ammo, because they're coming in for a melee charge. They're going to hit on my men here, take a volley point blank, and then enter melee with my British troops, which for the most part they are going to quickly be cut down by my men. Look at some of that action there. that guy getting run through violently there. And again, you can see my men now spread out. This is where things are going to start coming in my favor, though. Now he is starting to tangle with some of my fresh elite troops here. These 42nd Foot, the Black Watch, are easily going to handle that unit, and then quickly going to cut down this unit as well. So his men, you know, have been attacking uphill. I've forced him to keep pushing forward, and he's not going to be able to compete with that firepower that my troops can put out. In the middle, he is making some headway, though, and at this point, him being so spread out is starting to hurt him. Over here, these units are too weak to cause much of a threat. He no longer had any units here, meaning I'm able to turn this flank here. So I have now turned my troops, and I am starting to take advantage of him being so spread out with my condensed troops to start outflanking him. So he essentially overspread himself. Here my lifeguards are in their last stand against these Safai cavalry there, and they're actually doing well, mainly because his mounted rifles are mostly shooting his own troops there. So my men are going to win that one. I don't think I ever realized that they won, though. So he's just going to shoot the rest of them. And you can see here I am bringing over these foot guards and turning all of my men this direction to shoot at this cavalry. I'm just ignoring these guys because he pulled them back so far. Now on this end, my outflanking has now reduced his men down to 1 unit. I believe he has one more unit in the trees here somewhere. Yeah, there they are. And they just went hidden, but he has a unit there that came back from routing. You can see my men have taken heavy losses, though, and I believe this unit's actually out of ammunition, which is why they are just taking fire there. So I'm going to turn and start shooting at that. Anyways, in an effort to speed this up, at this point, he's overspread himself so much. You can see he still technically has me surrounded, but he just does not have enough troops to successfully do anything. So I'm going to turn my men here, get a volley into him as he charges. His men are going to be pushed back. I also have this building here, fresh units of Black Watch and foot guards as well. Don't know where they went. There they are. So yeah, I've got 2 units of almost full foot guards, a basically full unit of Black Watch, and so at this point there's not that much he can do. He's got his men up here, and I've decided I could chase these men down way over here, or I can take my whole force, kind of try to guard against this cavalry. He's got the 1 unit there, and I've still got the light foot, but I'm just going to press up this hillside and try to knock out this remaining section of his army, which contains his general as well. And for some reason the audio wigged out at the end of this video here and did not actually record properly. So I'm just going to quickly finish the voiceover in my video editor now. As you can see, I have this thing in triple speed, and I'm basically just mopping up the last of his units. At the other end of the trees, he's going to charge in his cavalry, but my men are in square, and they're not going to be any match for the Black Watch in square formation. So you can see these guys going in now, and that is going to be the end of that unit. At the same time, his general is charging in another section of the woods, and his last little bit of infantry is going to be shot up by my Black Watch. So there goes his general. That's the end of him, and that is the battle. So you guys can see there a solid victory. Good game to my opponent. I managed to kill 1,424 of his troops, and he killed 919. He deployed close to 170 more troops than I did there. Had a lot of infantry in it. Definitely put me in the defensive that battle. But anyways, take a look at the unit statistics here in just a second. Right now, I believe I was talking about how many men he lost. And I know the problem with my audio not recording correctly. I know how to fix it, so that'll be fixed soon. But you can see my Black Watch there only losing 30 men and killing close to 200, or give or take 164 men. And that's going to be it for that battle. So I hope you all enjoyed that one. I'll definitely be bringing some more Napoleon Total War soon. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.